State your name.
Charlie Cappellino,
And where do you live, Charlie?
on 21 Griffin Avenue.
I see. And would you tell us, are you a native of Hoosick Falls?
No, I came into Hoosick Falls in 1950. I'm a native of a very small town, about 50 miles outside of Buffalo. I wound up working in Buffalo and working for Curtis Wright prior to the war. And the reason I went to work with Curtis Wright was because out of high school, I took a aircraft mechanics course. And when I was finished with that, I was hired in Curtis Wright. I worked there for about a year and a half or two, close to that. Then of course the war broke out. And us good boys, a couple of us, volunteered and joined the Air Force.
And when was that, Charlie?
That was 1942, September 42.
All right. And tell us about it. You enlisted in September 42.
I was enlisted in Niagara Falls. From there we went to basic training to North Carolina. I believe it was Goldsboro, North Carolina. 4 months of basic training. And following that, we went to aircraft mechanics school because we were going to be part of the maintenance crew for we didn't know whether it be B-17s or what it would be, but airplanes. And that was a good 4 or 5 months of training. That was also in the Carolinas. And following that, we were shipped up to Rome Air Depot. There we formed our maintenance groups to service the aircraft. And we were about 3 weeks from being shipped overseas when I decided I should be a pilot. I wanted to be a pilot. So I went down to Syracuse, took the exams, and passed the physical, passed the written test, everything was fine. So I was taken out of the group, and again, I was like starting all over again. I had to go back to basic training. Miami Beach, Florida, in the dead of summer. Oh, it was hot. Was it ever hot, though? Your clothes were dripping wet.
Yeah, but they kept you in a nice hotel, I understand.
The hotel was fine, but most of the time you were marching up and down the street, your basic training.
Yeah, I know. Just kidding.
We got through that. I think it took around 3 months. From there, went to Shreveport, Louisiana, to college. 4 months of college work. Math and science and just a few very, very, very nice, very lovely accommodations, nice food. You couldn't be better. Following that, we went to San Antonio for physical. Had to be tested. Down there, and we took the written test again, physical test. I passed everything on the test and on the physical. I got up to be measured against the wall. Quarter of an inch too short.
No kidding.
I said, why am I a quarter of an inch too short now?
Yeah.
Why wasn't I a quarter of an inch too short when I started? Oh, no, I'm sorry. The truth of the matter was, probably at that particular time, they had more pilots than they wanted.
Yeah, I've heard that.
So they said, you want to be a navigator or bombardier? I was so mad. I said, no, I don't want to be anything. If I can't be a pilot, send me back where I was. Can't. You got to go to gunnery school. I said, you go to gunnery school, but you know as well as I do that all I have to do is get airsick and I'm out. Where you gonna go? Oh, say, all right, send me to gunnery school. Laredo, Texas, here we come. Gunnery school for 2 months or so. Shooting out of B-17 on the ground, all that. Learn the gun. I never did flunk out. I just kept right on going. So, from there, we went to Rapid City, South Dakota, formed our B-17 crews. I became a flight engineer because of my mechanical training.
See, what is a flight engineer's job?
Well, a flight engineer, he pre-flights the plane before you take off. He checks all the mechanical parts, checks the interior, and you're responsible really for the mechanical function of that airplane. Or you should have a working knowledge of it, so that if anything goes wrong, you can inform the pilot, your co-pilot.
That's like a crew chief today?
Well, a crew chief is a ground man. The crew chief would be on the ground.
Okay.
The flight engineer would be flying with the plane.
Okay.
And you know, every once in a while they take a crew chief and take him on a flight over their target.
I see.
It'd be volunteered.
Yeah, if he volunteered to go.
But I was located, there was a pilot on the left, co-pilot on the right, and I was directly behind the pilot and co-pilot.
I see.
And I had to man the top turret gun. Now from there, you could see everything, everything. It scared the pants off you sometimes. You could see too much.
I see. So you checked the plane, make sure that mechanically it was ready to go. You
Yes.
gave the word.
Yes.
And because we had somebody that was loading them at night, the B-29s, before they
yeah.
took off.
Yeah.
And their job was to get them loaded. Ted Lucas, I don't know if you know him. That's what he did in Italy. All right. So now.
Okay. So
So what happened? You made a flight engineer.
Okay. So now we go into training for, I guess, a good 4 months, flying all over the country, missions. You know that we would fly. It would be nothing to go.
And your crew was a B-17 crew.
B-17 crew, and you had navigator, bombardier, pilot, co-pilot, radio man, flight engineer, waist gunner, tail gunner, and ball turret gunner. So that was your crew. Now, oddly enough, the ball turret, you've seen, you know what I'm talking about. It's a round ball, hangs below the plane. The biggest guy on our crew, great big, bigger than you, Ray, was a ball turret man. How he got in there, I don't know.
Yeah.
But it was a very cramped up quarters, you know. Well, we finally finished our training, and we flew our plane directly over to England.
And when was that, Charlie?
That was in, I think, 1944. And we flew into Nova Scotia. From there we went to Scotland. From Scotland down to our base in about 100 miles from London. And at that point we joined the 95th Bomb Group. The 336th Bomb Squadron. And now we had to complete 35 missions before we would go back home. Not many completed 35 missions. For example, in our barracks alone there were 6 crews. In 1 week, 5 crews were missing, gone. You know, some of them may have jumped out and parachuted, some maybe down. But
they were gone.
They were gone.
From
I'll tell you, it's scary. Well, on our first mission, you get up early. It's always early morning briefing, always. 3, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, very early. We down for our first mission. They briefed us, fellows. This is going to be a milk run. Milk run's an easy target. Over France, German occupied. Well, we go over, flying at 10,000 feet. My God, 10,000 feet, they can pick you out like flies. Sure enough, there was anti-aircraft down there. Wow, we never expected any flak. We never expected anything. Our lead plane, we were flying, you know, we fly 1, 2, 3, 1 stacked up and down. Our lead plane right in front of us, right here, got hit right smack in the middle. He blew up right directly in front of us. That was my first flight. I said, boy, I'll never make 34 more. Well, we got back, I got back, obviously. And from there on in, there weren't too many milk runs. That wasn't a milk run either. Now, you'd always get briefed early. You'd fly 3 missions or 4 missions, and then they give you a pass to go to London for a weekend pass to London. And you always went. Had a good time, come back, and then you're ready to go for 3 or 4 more.
Now, Charlie, these missions, were they day after day after day, or did you have a day's break between?
You would have a break. They'd run you 3 or 4 missions in a row, and then they'd give you a break. They never let you, when you were flying, they wouldn't let you cool off much. They kept you going, because they'd give you time, they didn't want you to think about it. Usually you got them in doses, and then they'd lay off you a while. Now, our 15th mission, we were going down the Ruhr Valley. Now this was Flak Alley, they call it. And I'm telling you, it was Flak Alley. The flak was so thick up there. I was sitting on the top turret looking out, and it was just like chimneys all over the place, you know, boom, 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 bang. And you could see it coming, and all of a sudden I could see this coming, and right under us, room, picked us up and threw us down, knocked 2 engines out. Our pilot got hit, our radio man got hit, co-pilot got a little bit. I got hit, I was in the top turret, and I never wore heated shoes. You know, a heated shoe is like a slipper with, you know, and you plug it in and keep your feet warm. I always wore this kind of a shoe because I never was cold. Well, I got knocked out of my turret, you know, and this went up the back. My feet went out from under me, and I looked down, thought maybe my leg was missing. It's all there, and I said, "What the devil was it?" So I took off my boot, the flying boot. It looked all right. I went to put it back in, and this was in it.
Well, let me get it.
This,
Will you hold it up?
This is a 155 millimeter flak. This was in it, my shoe. I couldn't get my foot in my shoe. So I reached down and I pulled this out. And you know where this hit me? Right, this hit me.
Show us.
Right in the heel. Right there, in the heel part of the shoe. Right there. Now if it had hit up farther, it'd have taken my heel off. Because it did the job on that. That's as close as I came. Fantastic. But I've had that souvenir ever since 45, I think. Early 45. Well,
And what mission was that?
that was about our 15th mission.
About your 15th.
And now we had to fall out of formation.
Yeah.
And we dropped our bombs and fell out of formation. And we had to straggle back. Well, straggling is not the thing you want to do. Because when you straggle, we always had escorts. And escort, they surround you, you know,
Yeah.
and protect you.
Yeah, the fight.
But when you go off, if they didn't have enough escort, they couldn't follow you.
Yeah, right.
So you were on your own. We made it just over the Belgium line, and we were flying low. Boy, were we low. We landed that plane, and they scrapped it. It was so bad. It never.
Well, where'd you land in Belgium?
Just over the. We were occupying
Belgium
this
at that
area.
time. I
See,
see.
we had been into Belgium.
I see.
We had an air base there. And we got into it, but that plane was junked. Those that could got on another plane and went back to England. I and 2 other guys wound up in the hospital, right in Belgium. Well, I was there about 4 days in the hospital, and foot was all right then. It was really sore. I couldn't walk on it.
Yeah.
So the navigator, I was a co-pilot next to me in bed, and he said, "When you were going back?" Oh, I said, "I think I'm going back tomorrow." He said, "Don't go back." He said, "Go back, go down to Paris. Go down and see Paris. Enjoy it a while." I said, "How am I going to go to Paris?" Well, he said, "You just catch a plane, go down there, be on the air." I said, "Can you do that, English?" So next day I went down. I said, "Anybody going to Paris here?" "Well, we're going within about 15 miles. He said, "You probably get a ride from there." I said, "Okay." All I had, you know, I never wore, all I had is my flying suit on, a jacket, my flying jacket and suit. In fact, I had a picture of it. I don't think I got it with me.
Oh, yeah.
And so I went to Paris. I went down to I had done my way back into the city, Le Bourget Airport. And I told him what I was doing. I said, "I'd like to go down and see the city before I go back to England." He wrote me on a 3-day pass, which I extended to a week. I had an escape kit. See, each of us had an escape kit. There was $50 of English money in there. Well, that kept me for the week. Because you ate in GI halls out there. There was enough. You'd look around and
Yeah, you'd find
you just drop in and have lunch with them, you know. And I traveled all over Paris, the subways. I saw the can-can shows. I saw tours. I took the whole tour of Paris. Nobody I thumbed my ride on the street, you know, to pick
Yeah.
up. Nobody asked any questions of me. Never asked me to see my dog tags or nothing. I couldn't get over it. Well, I was out of money. A week had gone by, so I went back to the airport and told him I was making my way back to England, to my base. He said, oh, there's a plane going to England there. He says, not going where you want to go, but you can take a train from there. Fine, I hopped on the plane. Now here's another thing. They didn't know who I was. I could have been
Yeah.
a German spy.
Yeah, right.
Never asked for any identification, and we're fighting a war. So I jumped on the plane and got down to England, England just below London, and I told them I'd make my way back. They called up my base. He said, oh, write them out a train ticket. I stayed overnight there. Next morning I got on a train. And again, no, even with all of that, no identification, nothing. Just what I did. Like me
Just your
down here.
word.
I could have been a German spy.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, I got back to my base. I got back to the base and said, hi, how are you? Fine. You feeling good? Yeah. How would you like to go to London for a few days? I said, I sure would. They wrote me out a pass to London. I went to London for a few days. But I got back to my barracks, and the guys thought we were down, see. All my stuff, you know, when a guy goes down, they take your locker and split it up, take all your clothes and this. I didn't have nothing.
The guys that taken all the stuff.
Yeah, everything was gone.
Were you reported missing?
No, I don't think so.
Because your
I don't
folks
think
would
there
have.
was anything. I don't think there was any report of
I
it.
see.
But the only thing they asked me, how are you? They didn't ask me where I'd been, what I've done, what happened, nothing.
But you're back. Welcome back.
So I'm back. Well, now we got a few more missions to fly. And
Well, they had to put you in a new crew because your crew was.
we got part of our crew all back.
I see.
And then what happens is, Phil, that while your crew is flying, you may get sick and grounded for a couple of days, but the crew flies, see? So you may be, have to make a mission with another crew to catch up,
I see.
to get your 35 in. In fact, my last mission, I flew with a strange crew. And
So they got you back in the air.
Oh, yeah.
And did it take long to get you back in the air after you got back?
No, you're back. The only lull we had, you remember the Battle of the Bulge?
Yeah.
Well, the Battle of the Bulge was the result of we couldn't fly a plane for over a month.
Bad weather.
Bad weather. The weather was so bad. And honestly, that was one time I was wish we could go on a mission because we were getting this beat, you know, we were getting beat over there.
Yeah.
No flying, no support. Soon as that weather broke, every plane in the world was there, flying. You could see airplanes in the sky from anywhere direction you turned. Oh, and it was fantastic, the number of planes in the air. Well, I think we went on to about our 21st mission, and like I said, we needed a bombardier. We didn't, he was sick. So we drew another bombardier. But he wasn't a bombardier, he was a navigator, which we found out. When we said bombs away, the bombs didn't drop. Nobody really took the safety switches off. And that was a bombardier's job, to take the safety. And he wasn't a bombardier, so he didn't do it. Well, I'd open the door, and I'd look out the bomb bays. Oh my God, they're all hung up in there. So you asked me what I did. Well, one of the things I had to do is I went out, there's a catwalk in the bomb bays. It's about that wide. You put one foot in front of the other to walk it. And there's two ropes on the side. One rope here and one rope here to protect you. Well, here we are up about 20,000 feet. I had to go out there and hang on to that rope, lean out there, and the bombs are way over there. Lean as far as I could lean and click each one of those off by hand. We had to get rid of it.
Yeah.
Because you couldn't keep up with it.
I see. So there was a switch, you pushed it, and the bomb went, or a little catch?
Where they hang up, see, they hang them up. You just have to manually click that.
I see.
I did it with my finger.
And then bombs would drop.
Bombs would drop, one at a time. I don't know where they landed, got rid of them. But anyway, that was another experience that was...
one you won't forget.
Won't forget, yeah, but I didn't mind it. I don't know why, but I should have. you know, being out there. I didn't mind it. Well, one mission we went on a mission to, shuttle mission. We went from England to Russia. And we bombed on the way up in the northern part of Europe. And then we stayed in Russia a couple of nights. And they were scared to death about us being there. And I found out why just this summer. The group before had done that, and the Germans came over and bombed them that night. And they were afraid it was going to happen again.
I see. They didn't want the Germans
So
bombing
they didn't
them.
really appreciate us being
You were
there.
sucking the Germans over.
But
They didn't want them.
They fed us well. They put on a show for us, a real dancing show, you know, there were women. And then then we left and we went to Italy. And on the way to Italy, I think that's the time I was about as scared as I ever was in my life. Here was this mass formation going flying, and looked up in front, a few miles in front, you could see this wall of cloud, just a straight wall, all the way up as far as you could see. And we couldn't climb above it. We weren't able to climb above it. We had to fly right into it. And now, can you imagine flying into those clouds like that? Solid mass, with a guy on your wing here, and here, and above you and below you.
Yeah.
Well, that's one time my knees were knocking.
Yeah.
Oh, boy, I was scared. And as we got through, as we broke through the top, there was look, I can still see it. Right over there was a great big ball of fire that came through the clouds. A couple of them collided. I think more than a couple collided. There's no way to, you know.
You couldn't see, and it'd be hard to control it, and so.
Well, if your instruments failed you a little bit, you would know where you are.
Yeah, right.
So that was scary. We stayed in Italy a couple of days there, and then we come back and bombed on the way back. We bombed in France again. It wasn't Paris, but I was told that we bombed at a German barracks that was out in formation parading that day. So we helped them with their parade. Anyway, that was a good mission.
So you flew from England, you bombed Russia, you went to Italy, then on the way back,
We
you
bombed-
bombed,
we bombed-
they loaded you up in Italy, and then
We
you,
bombed from when we left Russia on the southern part.
I see.
Now, they consider that a mission then?
Oh yeah.
One mission, or was that
So
three
you-
missions?
You know what? I think that was counted as one mission, and I never thought of it until now. I could have got out sooner, maybe. Honestly, I didn't think it was one counted
I
as one
see.
mission.
That's great.
When you go and come, one
Yeah.
mission. But it should have been three.
I see. So then you came back to England.
We came back to England, yeah. Well, from there on, I completed my missions. The last mission, like I said before, I had to fly alone, with another crew.
Another crew.
And I tell you, when I got back, they told you, don't straggle, because stragglers are being picked off. The fighters wouldn't come in anymore. You know, I saw many dogfights out there with the Germans and our planes, B-52s, our planes. And he said, don't straggle, because they're picking them off if you straggle. Sure enough, we got hit again, and we were flying by ourselves back to England.
And this is on the 35th?
At 35th mission.
Oh, God.
I said, oh my God. I got to when I landed, I kissed the ground. Boy, that was it.
Yeah.
Well, right after that, we got sent home, and then we went back by boat.
I see.
I think that must have been in June of 45, because I got out in July of 45, so a month before I got out.
Now, the war was over in Europe in May of 45, wasn't
August, wasn't it?
it?
No.
August.
No, that was Japan was in
Japan
August.
was in...
What was it?
It was
May or June.
Now, wait a minute.
May or June.
I got to tell you something. August 11th, we got married, my wife and I, in 1945, and the whistle blew, and I was out of a job, because I worked for Curtis Wright.
Oh, I see.
Oh,
That's
Lord.
when the Japanese surrender was in August.
Yeah, it was in August, and they
Yeah.
signed it on September 2nd. They signed it on the
August,
Missouri.
That's when the war really ended.
Yeah.
And So I had no job, just got married. Well,
Okay, so that summed up your service.
Well,
You told us a
when
great
after I
story.
came back from furlough, I went home, see, furlough, come back to Atlantic City, I could hear these guys telling about points. Points, I'm getting out, I got enough points for this. Points. Well, I said, what points about? Well, he said, if you got enough points, you can get out right now. You need 85 points. I said, oh boy. So we looked at, checked the records over. I had 80 points. But I had one battle star they weren't giving me that should have been given to me because I was with the group when that battle star was given.
I see.
I had 85 points. I had 5 oak leaf clusters and air medal, good conduct medal.
Yeah.
And I was 5 battle stars. So I had enough. He says, well, we'll have to write for it. We'll have to get permission. I said, oh. Well, he says, you can stay here in Atlantic City for a month. It'll take a month to get it. Or you can go to Lake Lure, North Carolina, vacation spot, a resort. I said, I'm going to Lake Lure because if I'm over here, you'll have to use me and send me somewhere. So I went there for a month, had a great time. It was a resort.
Yeah.
Come back, looked over my records. Yeah, I got the 5 points. I got out of the service.
I see.
That's the end of the service.
Okay, now you came back. Now tell us a little about after the service, what happened.
After the service, as I said,
You
it
got
was
married.
cool. I had no job. So I finally wound up in a job in a steel mill, drawing wire. You know, they take wire and they put it through a die and keep reducing the size of the wire. Well, my job was to feed that machine. I got the third shift, the worst conditions in the world. And it's the best thing that ever happened to me because I said, you know, I looked at that guy over there, he's been doing it for 15 years, that guy's 10 years. I'm getting out of here. I'm going to school. So I applied to an engineering college at Engel, Indiana, Tri-State College. They accepted me. He said, you can come if you can find a place to live. And apartments were minimum you could get.
Yep.
So we bought a trailer, house trailer, and towed it all the way over there and set it up behind a house. And we still write to those people, and my wife still write back and forth now. It was very, very nice. They were nice people.
They let you set up your trailer so you could go to college.
They set up the trailer.
And you went under the GI, so you went into the GI Bill and you...
That's right.
And you became an engineer. What kind of engineer did you become?
Chemical engineer.
Chemical?
Chemical engineer. And, you know, sometimes when you get a bad deal like that, like I did, working in a steel mill, it gives you a little push.
You know, gave you reason.
Yeah, it gives you a reason.
Yeah.
So then, from there, I graduated. Another reason I chose that college, because you would get your degree in 3 years by not taking no vacations. Go right straight through. And so I got my degree in 3 years. And from there, I went to work for International Paper in Niagara Falls. And I worked there for about a year and a half. And then I heard about this position over here, and I really didn't even know where Hoosick Falls was, really. But I looked it up and we found it, and came over, and they offered the job. And I thought about it for about a week or two, and then I accepted it.
So
I think it was the best thing I could have
you
done.
moved to Hoosick Falls, when was that?
1950.
1950. Now by then, did you have any children, or?
Yes, we had one girl, Linda.
Linda, yeah. I see. And then you moved here,
We moved here.
and you've lived here ever since
Been in
1950.
Hoosick Falls ever since 1950.
So you're almost a native.
I'm about 90% native.
90% native.
If I live long enough, I'll be 99.
I'd like to close this before we talk about wood flung.
All right.
Is there anything else you'd like to mention, any of this?
Well, I think that covers my service pretty
Yeah,
well.
I think it was great.
You know.
Well, we thank you very much for coming.
Enjoyed it.
All right, we've come back on.